Hello, welcome back to Middle Age Gamer. I'm just going to put this sort of little ranty video out there. What you see in the background is going to allude to what I'm kind of like getting at. Yesterday it was announced that, well, basically Sony announced that they are purchasing Bungie. Now, we all know Bungie is the creators of the original Halo trilogy, let's call it that way, or the Halo saga. They invented that saga, but we can all pretty much admit that some of their best work was done when they were leaving the franchise and going off on their own, for in the Halo universe, that is. And then what we got after that was mediocre at best. Had great promise, but like always, it lacks follow through. So if we go back a few weeks and we go back to the Microsoft deal, Sony was basically woke up again themselves one morning finding out that they've lost Activision now. They've lost all that. You know, yes, Microsoft are a decent company and they're going to what did he call it? Own like the license and allow it to go on other platforms, because that's what Microsoft have always been. They want gamers to play the games. Now, don't get me wrong. Do I think the whole game, like Call of Duty, the whole? No, I do think that it'll be Warzone, especially not this year's Call of Duty, or possibly next year's, but from 2023 onwards, yeah. Now, you know, for us as a fans of of all these games, it's never been a greater time, because you had the richest company, or one of the richest companies in the world, that can afford to actually look after it. You know, I mean, we've all been wanting a World of Warcraft, for instance, on the console. We can now have that possibility because Microsoft has some of the best talent in the world for RPGs and FPSs, you know, first person shooters, whatever you want to call them, and platformers even. And they can share them out. I mean, that's something that Microsoft's always done, is said, hey, you want to go at Perfect Dark? Here, this new company was set up, which we all thought was going to be Perfect Dark, and then was confirmed when they was leaked. They were working on a stealth espionage game that looked really sick, because one of the developers on there had seen some of the footage or whatever and gone, no, that looks amazing, but we never got it at an E3 and till last year when it was announced, or what have you, that they're doing Perfect Dark, and hopefully this year we'll actually get some gameplay, and maybe next year a release date. But it's not been done by Rare, that's what I'm trying to say, and Rare own that. They don't mind getting those companies and saying, hey, look, you're busy working on this, we're going to take that IP and let this company have a go, and if they mess it up, then the next one you can come back and fix it if you wish, if that's what you want to do. They're letting them do what they want to do, basically, which is really great. Not just stuck to one genre, like Activision has always done, you know, Infinity Ward, Triage, and then you've got the support teams like Raven, which Raven did some other really good games, so I don't understand why they just lock Raven as a support thing, you know, and all this. But like I say, now it's under Microsoft. We know that all these franchises are in better hands. They can sort the shit out that's going on politically with the company, give it a better workspace, etc. So when that happened, Sony basically had to reply, and their only reply was this half-assed, really dumb move. It's overpriced. They go out there and buy Bungie. Again, for those people that are just new to gaming or what have you, Bungie made Halo. When they got to Halo 3, they decided, we've had enough, we want to go out. So they said, okay, you make us 2 more really solid titles in the Halo universe, and you have your company. We keep the Halo license, that's ours. You go off and do what you want to do. You're free from us. And it felt like a parent to his child saying, okay, you're 18 years of age, you're going off to college in a minute, finish your exams and go, sort of thing. And their whole shtick has been that way. They go, and the title behind Bungie, I mean, Bungie at that point had some of the best creative minds. Jason Jones, Joseph Stanton, Marty O'Donnell, you know, and all the other founders. I think there's one other founder of Bungie at that point, you know, and all the other sub-founders, a little bit. They were just amazing. But what we found is they left home, they get their own studio, Destiny's announced, and then that leads to them going, oh crap, we need a publisher, but because we're going to stick it to the mum and dad, we're going to go with someone they hate, and we'll go with Activision, who's recently been dissing on Xbox through the Xbox days, getting tired with Microsoft's interference, and they just want Sony to do well, so they've gone with Sony deals and money change hands, whatever you want to call it. And so they did a deal where Destiny would have exclusive game modes and maps and all these other bits for Destiny for a year at least, because it had an unknown date, and I think it was just over a year when we ended up getting the DLC that they had, and the story bits that they had that we never got. And for Xbox, people were like, So Activision at the time, Destiny 1 was released on 360, basically gave the finger to the biggest console platform at that time with the biggest player base, and went for the minority. And look what that's done. It's basically killed Destiny as it is. So they went with that. Now, they got to launch that point, and during that development, don't forget, they lost their founders at that point. You lost, during Destiny 1, they lost Joseph Stanton, who went to work for Microsoft as gaming manager and doing other things, which some of the stuff he's done has been amazing. He's a really good person. He knows what he's doing, and I know a lot of people can have like a, how can I say this, feel it's a little bit wrong because he can be a little bit sharp and direct with it, but the reality is he's trying his best to make it good for you and me, so that what you get is really good. That's why Halo was delayed a year, because he went in there and said, look, it's not ready, we need more time, get on with it. And the campaign launched. It's a solid, amazing campaign, but we are at that point now where, So again, that went through. They did all that. They started losing founders, and then during Destiny 2, they lost Marty O'Donnell, one of the best composers. I mean, he freaking wrote Halo, and that is probably the most iconic theme tune now in video games, next to your Mario's and the game you can see on screen now. Which, I mean, come on. Metal Gear Solid was amazing in its time. But anyway, so instead of going for a Capcom, or, Ubisoft, or even Capcom themselves, Konami themselves, they decided to go for Bungie. Why? I think they lost the ability for they're more into story-based, single player, but with a loot box narrative behind it, which Destiny is. The only trouble is, Destiny's story has taken 10 years to come to the forefront. It's been 10 years of just grinding and grinding and grinding, and not really a big story, unless you are willing to look at the small little snippets and read all the books and read all the other bits of paraphernalia that comes out alongside it. But the game itself, like Destiny 1, other than the intro bit and being told about the big ball thing, you were like, what the hell am I doing? Just shooting aliens. And then when you got the story again, it was like, okay, but now what? I'm getting into this, I'm starting to feel it, but no. And then the sequel just wiped all that off, and set its own, and now it's just been living on what we would literally call life support. I mean, no offense, but when you're only on 50,000 concurrent players, and all the games that are out there that were way better are on higher, you got to ask themselves, why would you go for someone that's just famous now for that? Because they can't come back unless they say, right, Destiny, finish Destiny 2 DLC, you're dead, everything's going to be exclusive to PlayStation, which makes no difference because, like I say, Activision made it that way anyway before they were kicked out. And again, like I say, Bungie at that point, when they went, I've had enough of people telling me what to do, I'm going to publish my own games. 2 years later, bought out by Sony. Do you know what I mean? It's like, come on, dudes. Sony should have gone, right, where can we get a biggest library for $3.6 billion? Oh my god, for one game, because Marathon has not had a sequel in 30 years. Myst was another one that was like cool, but no one's ever going to get into Myst anymore. And Onyx, it was one of them games that was made for other companies and it ended up getting owned. I think Microsoft owns the IP for that. If I remember rightly, it's still owned by other people, but which is why they've never done one. But to be honest, they never really wanted to get back into a kids shooter sort of game anyway. But you know, it's like, it just feels like a child against its parents. I'm a father myself, and I kind of see it, the parallels there, and I'm like, you know, eventually Bungie will come home. Now, right now they're the adopted dad of Sony from now on for a while, but I can see as Sony itself is going to struggle, and you know, they are, unless they buy someone big like EA or something like that to get these games over to their machine. Now that Microsoft has all these massive IPs and big studios under one house, it makes no sense to have a PlayStation. And of course, PlayStation 5s you can't buy, and they know it, and so instead of making more PlayStation 5s, they use the silicon to make PlayStation 4s. Right, that makes sense. Even Microsoft knew this time, no, we can't keep the older consoles going. They stopped over a year ago, you know, to put more production into getting it. And that's why officially there is no record, but unofficially, from what we can see from statements made from other companies, Microsoft's console, the Xbox Series X and the PS5, are pretty much neck and neck this year, you know, or this generation. So, you know, but like I say, I would have gone, hey, Konami, buy them. They're the ones that are doing nothing with games at the moment. I mean, there's rumour of Metal Gear Solid being remade, and I am really down for that. But I know if they make it exclusive to the PlayStation, it's going to piss off a lot of their fan base. You know, it needs to be a PC console and what have you, because they need more. It's got to get more revenue this time to get more public, you know. But I've heard of that using the Metal Gear Solid 5 engine, but enhanced and all these other stuff. And I'm like, that'd be great to remake it and bring it back. Good on, but it's all rumour mill, and there's no announcement. All I know is Konami don't want to make games. They just want to make Pachinko bloody machines, because that makes more money for them, you know. And yet, Konami, you've got Silent Hill, Metal Gear Solid, you know, Castlevania. These are massive titles that could really make Sony or Microsoft some really big bucks. But they haven't done it, you know? I mean, it just makes no sense, because Metal Gear Solid was just amazing. I mean, some of the music was just brilliant. The stealth mechanics was great. The graphics at its time was revolutionary. Obviously, it's dated. And it had been remade anyway, because Nintendo remade a Metal Gear Solid 1 called Twin Snakes instead, and it was exclusive to Nintendo, which for me, it makes no sense, you know, because it could really, you know, it could benefit from like I say, bringing to the forefront, letting people you know, play this game. And like I say, this would make more monetary sense, because it suits Sony's narrative of single-player, story-driven narrative games like Horizon Zero Dawn and that. They don't do any shooters, because, you know, that's the other thing. They got, what was it? Resistance Fall of Man. They've got Haze, and they've got what was it? Resistance, Haze, and there's another one out there, I'm forgetting, it's on the tip of my tongue. Killzone. And Guerrilla are not interested. They're too busy now with Horizon, because that's just their big success, because Killzone received okay in the original, but it was shit. And, you know, it's like one of those that they could do it. And now you got Bungie. I mean, Bungie doing Killzone? Reinvent the story of it, try and do a Halo with it. That's the possibility. That would be pretty sweet, you know. But you know, like I say, this is a company that they should have gone for, because they have ties. I mean, it suits them. They have ties with Kojima, so they could get him back to redirect it, redo the Metal Gear franchise, because I'm sure he would if Sony asked them. Say, look, we own the franchise, we own the company now, there's no more bad with Konami, can you help us? We give you full 2-year development cycle, 3-year, whatever. No more than that, but get it on and remake it. And bring it to the modern. You know. But yeah, I mean, these are really my thoughts on it at the moment. I'm thinking, what the hell? I mean, I can see that they wanted this company because it has talent. But the talent they've got now is not the talent that it used to be. All them people that we know that made Halo, the vast majority are not there anymore. And the infrastructure is corporate. It's not that indie company that was done with Halo when it first started. You know, the one that Microsoft saved. Because they don't remember that Microsoft saved them from a big disaster with Apple. Apple put them on the E3 stage. They showed them this new, well, it's E3, it was an Apple showcase. And it showed them their, what's it called? It showed them Halo at that time, and Microsoft saw it, but Steve Jobs didn't, and they were sacking them that day. It's like, sorry mate, that is actually shit, we're not going to allow you to do that. Go back to the drawing board sort of thing. And I think, you know, it was Microsoft saving them that was good. Now, I'm not saying Microsoft's the greatest company in the world, it's not. But they are the one with the money at the moment. They're the ones that have the funds to be able to allow niche projects out there, you know. And it made more sense for Microsoft to sort of like say, hey, come on home and have this homecoming party, you know, family rejoin again, than what we got. But anyway, all I can tell you is, you know, I'm really sort of kind of bummed, you know. I really am kind of bummed with the situation, because I'm like, it just makes no sense. Let Bungie die or go home. You buy it, you're gonna do what with it? You know, it's not worth it. 3.6 billion is not. Maybe $1 billion. Let's put it into context. We all remember Minecraft deal. That was 4 billion for one studio, but Minecraft's made money because it's never gone away. But it wasn't a sequeled game, it was an online experience. And pretty recently, we've just had, what was it, last year, 7 billion for Bethesda. What did they get with Bethesda? They got so many games for 7 billion. You know, so it makes no sense. 3.6, which is over half. You know, and you get one game. It just, no, please tell me this is like an early April Fool's joke or something. That this can't be serious, you know. But anyway, okay, that's just my thoughts. It's a bit confusing, a bit dumbstruck, because I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Is that the best you can do? Sony, you really are dead. And I love Sony, because Sony has some really good games, like say Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War. These are all amazing games, single player, narrative driven story, you know. And I'm at that point now where I'm like, you need to be doing something, if you know what I mean. Yeah. You really do need to be sort of doing something now, you know? But no, they got to do something. Whether they will, whether they won't, I don't know. All I can say is, that's my opinion. Now, on a separate note, please leave in the comments if you want me to do playthrough on Metal Gear Solid games, because it's been a minute since I've last played a Metal Gear, and I really think some of the best are the old ones. So please do me a favour. Hit the like button, share, comment, and let me know in the comments. Please subscribe as well, but let me know if you want me to do that, because I'm currently waiting for Horizon, but it's sadly a few weeks away, so we'll leave it at that.